Hi everyone! In this video, we'll be talking about dating. One of the top questions we receive from teens as sexual educators is, how do I ask someone out? Dating and asking someone out can be big stress inducers for anyone, but particularly for teens who are trying these things for the first time. Parents can be great resources for their youth to talk about their new feelings and concerns about liking someone, asking someone out, and dating. A survey from 2016 showed that 52% of teens ages 12 to 15 stated that parents most influence their sexual decision-making. This means that despite how awkward it might be to start thinking about your kid dating, you as a parent have an opportunity to discuss values with your young person and help them be confident and safe in their relationships. First, consider, have you as a parent or guardian made yourself available to your youth to have open, non-judgmental conversations about sexuality? It can be easy to want to share our own experiences or offer advice on what we think they should do, but youth really respond well when you just listen and, when asked, provide factual, non-judgmental information, leaving the final decision up to them. Letting them know you are open to talk about sensitive subjects by having regular, shame-free conversations throughout their childhood about things like anatomy, puberty, pregnancy, and identity will help set them up to come to you for advice and support as they continue to get older. What could a conversation about dating look like? Of course, dating looks different depending on what age your youth is and what dating means to them. For example, maybe your 8-year-old says to you one day after school, "I have a boyfriend." Consider a conversation like this. "I have a boyfriend at school." "That's great, honey. What's their name?" "Pedro." "I would love to meet Pedro sometime. What does it mean to you to have a boyfriend?" "Well, I like to hang out and talk and play outside with him." "That's wonderful." Having a simple, affirming conversation with your kiddo is a great way to show your non-judgmental support. Notice that you've also checked in about what it means to your kid to have a boyfriend, and in this case it seems to be more about friendship than anything romantic or sexual. Note that if you have any reason to believe that Pedro is not a student of your child's same age, find out more immediately. If your kiddo reports anything that goes against your family's values or presents a safety risk, discuss that. Let's roleplay again to explore that conversation. "I have a boyfriend at school." "That's great, honey. What's their name?" "Pedro." "I would love to meet Pedro sometime. What does it mean to you to have a boyfriend?" "Well, we like to talk and play games together. Sometimes I show him my vulva and he shows me his penis because that's what boyfriends and girlfriends do." "I'm glad you found someone you like to hang out with, but do you remember what we talked about regarding our vulvas and penises?" You can pause here and see what they remember from your previous conversations. "Remember how vulvas and penises are private parts? Why are they private?" "Because they're under our clothes and nobody sees them except for me and Mommy and Dr. AJ." "That's right. We don't show our private parts to other people and we don't let them touch them. Those body parts are for us. So I would like you to tell me if anyone ever touches you on your vulva, okay?" "Okay." Maybe you and Pedro can play a different game when you're together, like making a leaf soup or playing tag. What are some other things you could do instead? It's normal for young kids to play with their genitals and show their genitals to other kids. Providing safety guidelines and non-judgmental support will help your kid develop healthy relationships in this beginning dating phase. After your youth goes through puberty, the dating conversation will look different. Here are some teen dating tips. Frame your conversation around values. What is important to your family? What values about sexuality does your family have? What expectations do you have as a parent or guardian for your youth and dating? What are your youth's expectations? If your youth has a firm understanding of what's important to them and your family, they can more easily make informed, affirming decisions. If your young person is ready to date, encourage them to explore their deal breakers and deal makers. Deal breakers are things in a relationship that you absolutely will not tolerate. For example, dishonesty, violence, disrespect, etc. Deal makers are things that are really important to you to have in a relationship. For example, things like love, open communication, honesty. What are your teens' deal makers and deal breakers? Encourage them to seek out relationships that meet their deal makers and to leave relationships that have deal breakers. Help them find appropriate language to ask someone out. All teens have in terms of examples of asking someone out are media portrayals and friends' real-life experiences, which may be based on gender stereotypes and unhealthy relationship dynamics. Help them explore language to ask someone out. What are some ways to directly and respectfully ask someone out? Give them sample opening lines. We'll have another role play soon that gives you an example. What are the benefits of asking someone out in person versus over text? Talk about finding the courage to say hard things and learning to deal with disappointment. Also, remember that a person of any gender can ask someone out. The idea that only boys can ask people out is just not true. Part of dating involves openly communicating about your needs and wants. Being in a relationship requires the maturity to communicate clearly and directly about your needs and wants. When entering into a relationship, people have different expectations, both emotionally and physically. Encourage your teen to think about what they want and need and to communicate that to their partner. If the relationship is sexual, encourage them to discuss safe sex. What protection will they use? What activities do they want to try? What do they want to gain? What do they want to avoid? Now that we have these tips in mind, let's roleplay a scenario with a teen concerned about asking someone out. Dad, can I talk to you about something? Sure. Well, I really like this girl and I'm trying to figure out how to ask her out. I feel really nervous about it. Thanks for sharing with me. What makes you feel nervous about it? Well, I'm afraid she'll say no and then I'll feel like an idiot. Yeah, it can feel really scary to ask someone out when you don't know what they'll say. But that's part of dating, finding the courage to do something hard like asking someone out and then being prepared to manage your disappointment if things don't go the way you had hoped. What ideas do you have for how you are going to ask her out? Well, I was thinking about just sending her a text. Yeah, that's definitely one option. It's up to you, but have you considered asking her out in person? Sometimes hard conversations are better in person so that there are fewer misunderstandings, even if it is scarier to do it in person. What were you thinking about saying? I was gonna say something like, "Hey Shayna, I really like you. Will you go out with me?" I think that works great. It's direct and clear. What are your hopes for the relationship? Dad, that's too embarrassing to talk about with you. Okay, I hear that. If she says yes, maybe consider talking about it with her. What do you want for the relationship? What do you want to do together? I'm excited for you and feel proud that you're taking this chance. I'd love to hear how it goes if you're willing to chat about it with me again. Okay, thanks, Dad. We hope these tips and roleplays help you find affirming ways to talk with your teens about dating. Let us know what you think.